Tight ends come in all shapes and sizes, but I'm not sure any of them have come in built like LSU's Trey'Dez Green. The 6'7", 240-pound tight end originally arrived to Baton Rouge as a two-sport athlete and commit, playing both football and basketball for the Tigers before committing full-time to football this past season. That focus helped Green take a big step forward this past season and become a legitimate weapon in LSU's passing game, catching 33 passes for 433 yards and 7 touchdowns. Still, it feels like Green is just scratching the surface of what he could become as a tight end. So let's dive into the film to show you what kind of player Green is and why so many NFL scouts are already keeping a close eye on him in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube if you're not already, and give us a follow on socials at BestAvailableYT. As always, a huge thank you to our members who continue to support us. For just $2.99 a month, not only are you supporting the channel, you're getting full access to my NFL Draft Big Board, which includes all my notes on Trey'Dez Green, along with almost 40 prospects at this point. So make sure to, if you're interested in supporting, check out the link in the bio. I also just want to give another shout out. This past weekend was unbelievable. We broke 9,000 subscribers and we were at something like 8,700 before the weekend. So a huge thank you for the outpouring of support over the weekend. Means a ton. Hope you stick around. We've got tons of fun videos coming, and in July, we're going to make things a little more interesting. We're going to dive into the college football video game. I saw Coach Mode and I went, I think that's perfect for this channel, so we're gonna do a little video game streaming too. Stick around for that. We're gonna have a ton of fun with that. But let's dive into this Trey'Dez Green film. I'm really excited to dive into the Trey'Dez Green tape because you see 6'7" and 240 pounds, and there's a couple of things that come to mind. But the number one thing when I just think of that profile is like he might be a little uncoordinated, just a big body you just kind of throw up to. And I hope this tape shows you this guy is much more than that. And at the same time, really still just trying to, become a more complete, well-rounded player. Like I said, I think last year was his first full year without basketball activities. He really honed in on the craft, and that jump in production, really showed. I'm excited to see with a Lane Kiffin offense. I think the sky's the limit for him. So let's start on this nice nuanced route here. He is the number one player here. So funny. The years and years I've been watching film, sometimes it's really hard to try and spot out, a receiver, based on, you got to figure out, like, are they wearing socks like here? Are they wearing long socks, no socks? What kind of gear do they have on their arms? Is their mouthpiece hanging? Really easy for Trey'Dez Green. Go find the giant human in the slot. So got a 3x1 here, 3 receivers to the far side of the field. So at the bottom, Green's the number 3 receiver from the sideline. Nice route here. He's going to establish inside leverage right here. And then what I like, this is probably a coaching point more than anything, but I think he does a great job of it. Let me pause it again. We're just going to break and cross this ref's face. We're going to use him as a natural pick on this play, which I love, because you can see we've got this defender in the hip pocket. As soon as we break across that face, this defender can do a couple things. He can go under this, but he's going to lose the foot race. He can run into the ref and then just completely be gone, or he can go over and just be a half second behind. He chooses over, probably the smart move, or he does end up getting bumped a little bit so that cushion separates. And then Green, hey cat, and then Green, for all of his size, he's so coordinated and fluid as an athlete. The ball's slightly off target. He has to adjust to it. Let me rewind it here. So breaks inside, crosses the ref's face, slightly off target. He's just so coordinated. He just spins, out of that and maintains his stride, which is awfully impressive. You can feel like there's a lot of like the basketball fluidity skill set still in him that makes him such a dynamic weapon, where he is way more coordinated than the average giant tight end, where I've seen so many of these guys like, wow, look at that huge tight end. Typically they're more of an inline guy, or they can, just struggle catching and making plays after the catch. And Green is just such an impressive athlete. I love the athleticism here, but I also just love that nuanced route running, just across the ref's face. Just a fun little way to get open. This is another example of just a way better athlete for Trey'Dez Green than you'd think for a 6'7" guy. I keep thinking about Wemby as like a good example. It's the only thing I can think of is like Wembanyama's in the NBA 7'5", and a lot of centers when they're that tall are really uncoordinated, really fluky, or just like are really unbalanced and uncomfortable with that frame. And Wemby has obviously been, the prime example of not being that, just like a rare athlete at that size. That's how I feel about Trey'Dez Green on the football field. There's just not many guys this coordinated. We're just running a simple slant here, but you're going to notice he's going to have to make a defender miss. As we run this slant, gets inside, cuts down. You can see this linebacker is, getting into a throwing window. Then he's going to try and break down on this football. Turns his head. He's like, all right, I'm going to smoke this dude. A lot of guys this big might struggle to change direction. Not Green. Just easy sidestep. Gets north-south, lowers the pads, gets a couple extra yards after contact. The route itself's fine, right? He's playing off coverage. You should be getting open here. It's more of the elusiveness after the catch, the awareness, the peripheral vision to understand, like, hey, this defender's going to be in your zone. He's going to try and clock you, and you having the awareness and, elusiveness to, avoid that. That's awfully impressive for a guy his size to be able to do stuff like that in space. This is the good stuff. I can't imagine a more fun player to have on your team than a guy like Trey'Dez Green. If you're a quarterback near the goal line, if you have no safety help over the top and you're just one-on-one at the top of the screen, I'm throwing to Trey'Dez Green every time, man. Like, I could not trust a guy more, and boy, did Green show it. 12 contested catches this past season, just a jump ball specialist. Got really comfortable with that. That basketball background really comes into play. All you have to do is throw it as high as you can, and Green will go up and get it. Great job here. He's holding his leverage. He's getting his shoulder turned. He's trying to box out a little like a true big man in the NBA or a forward. And then, look, that's like perfect timing to high point that. He times the jump perfectly so that this corner can't react. The quarterback throws it as high as possible. Look how high up Green is on this play. The ball is here. The DB's hand is here. Like, there's just no chance he's ever going to be tall enough to get up to high point that. And then it looks so easy. I'll show it in one motion for you guys. But it just looks so effortless. One more time for you guys. Just high point. Great placement on that throw, too. But it can be so easy for Green. This is a fun look for Green. We got a 12 personnel look, so one running back. We've got two tight ends. This is a nice way to scheme your long strider who's got speed and contested catch ability open. We're going to run a wheel for Green out of here. Obviously the condensed side, or the condensed splits, college hash marks makes this a little easier to run. I can still see this working at the NFL level, though. We're going to run a wheel with Green. This receiver's got to get inside leverage to bring this corner with him, and he's going to dig inside. If he just goes outside and works in, this corner can keep eyes on this wheel route. It's why we have to establish inside leverage. Receiver does a good job of that. So then suddenly it's going to be this defender is going to have to react to this wheel route. And he's just going to lose a step here through that traffic. We're trying to split him a little bit, slow down his path, this wide receiver, slow down this defender's path. Green's long strides, he's going to get, open-ish here. He's going to separate, but then, we're going to have to adjust to it. Great adjustment back to the ball. It is definitely his superstar trait, is that body control. He can adjust mid-route wherever you throw him the ball. If it's within his catch radius, he can work back to it. That body control just consistently shows up, man. When you're 6'7", your catch radius better be big. He can catch things from all different angles. And I just love, he's not totally winning the foot race here. I think if we have to wait a little bit longer on this throw, he might separate. Again, long strides. He's not really like a quick build-up speed guy, but I think, he can cover ground with his size and speed. I think he could eventually get deep, but I just love the ability to adjust here, get extended, get that ball in. Let me show you the other angle. Here we go. This is as soon as he gets into frame. He's adjusting the ball. We're both working vertically. Suddenly, this linebacker is to stop and turn because Green's just so comfortable decelerating, contorting his body, getting that football, staying in bounds, hauling it in. Just such a size mismatch in so many ways, man. I don't know what defender you put on him, to be totally honest. Like, it's just such a not fun situation to be in, for a defender. You got to be like a Brandon Browner, like a way too big cornerback that's, playing out there and successful. I don't know how many other options there are to cover a tight end of this size. Other quarterbacks must be so jealous of Garrett Nussmeier last year for having a weapon like this, because, man, you just throw it up to this guy consistently. He's not winning over the top here. We're going to, back shoulder it, force him to adjust, and he just plays basketball again. He boxes out. He turns his shoulders to box out this defender, make sure that when he jumps, there's no opportunity for this DB to easily get in front of him. He needs to shield that ball with his body and then get up, high points that football. This guy even gets a hand on it. Like, this guy is in the way to make this throw, but Green's so big with such strong hands, impressive body control, and I don't know if you noticed that at the last second. As he boxes out, as he high points this, the second he secures that ball, he is ripping it to his chest, making sure it cannot be interfered with right there. Just a great move to make sure that ball does not get punched out or ripped out or anything like that. Here's that from the end zone angle too. Look, he's turning his shoulders, making sure he's boxing out on this, and then just high pointing that at the highest possible point again. It literally, he embodies the effort Trey'Dez Green is down there somewhere. Because if I was a quarterback, I'm not a quarterback. I am not a quarterback. But if I was a quarterback, I would just throw to Green every time. Just throw it up there. Feel very confident he's going to go up and get it. Moving on to the Vanderbilt game, and we've talked a lot about the contested catch and the route running pass catcher that Green is. But what about his blocking? I think it's something that needs work on, but I need to give that a very strong caveat because I will give him credit. He does not play football like a basketball player. The effort is there. He uses his size, and he's trying at the point of attack. But I think a lot of his issues are technique things. Like I think we need to be more aggressive instead of catching blocks or catching defenders to block. We need to force that issue, step up into those blocks, launch the hips. And drive legs through contact. This is just my overall synopsis of how I feel about his current blocking style. This is a real growth opportunity for him because, like, he seems to be wired enough to block, and if we can get him technically sound on it, it might open up his game and make him like a surefire first-round pick. I think this play on the perimeter is a good example of what I'm talking about. We've got him here as the number 3 on this stack. We're going to throw to, I believe it's number 1 here, and then these two guys are going to block for him. So watch Green on this play. Yep, number 1's getting the ball. So we've got to climb. We've got most dangerous threat here, and then we've got to figure out, who we're blocking here. It's usually the safety on this now screen. Here's the problem. You can see wide-ish base, yeah, staying a little low, but he just kind of stopped his feet. He's waiting for this guy to engage. The problem with this, especially the NFL level, when you're dealing with really shifty defensive backs, you standing still gives them like a 3-way go. They can run through your chest because you're flat-footed almost. They can run around you this way. They can run around you this way. I don't like stopping your feet to, catch a block. That is an issue of mine, especially when you're this big man. Like, use your size. I'd rather you give effort and lunge and maybe whiff. Because when you are right, you're going to, make this a real play. But, ends up absorbing that contact. You can see his head gets snapped back a little. Keeping that base, he's holding on, and then he's trying to finish that block, ends up, throwing it, and then we do spring it because that effort, he doesn't quit on the play just because he gets his head snapped back. And that's where I like some of the stuff I see, right? I want to see him give effort here, at the point of attack because he gets his head snapped back, does not quit on this play. Then he starts driving. And then ends up pushing, maybe it's a little because the guy's trying to make a play on the ball, but finishes the block. It's such a funky thing. I do not want to call him a bad blocker because I think there's stuff there that he is working on, and there's times where it really works for him. I just think technically, and I know this is a lot for, fantasy brain people that don't care as much, but for me, man, I care a whole lot about this stuff, especially if you're going to be a 3-down tight end. If he can become a more well-rounded blocker, I feel pretty good that he's going to be an easy first-round pick. The contact balance and play strength don't always show up, but man, when they do, it makes Green even scarier. We've got him behind the goalpost right here. He's just going to run like a delayed drag route on this. He's going to end up, being a little bit of trouble. Nussmeier is, I apologize. We're just going to get that ball out to our outlet, which is Green. This defender looks like he's going to make pretty clean contact on Green here. But just because his long legs, he's got enough balance, keeps driving those feet, then breaks out of it. We get a few more extra yards out of it. We don't see a ton of this on his tape, but when we do, man, like this is where I get scared. Like hit the NFL weight room more, get a little bit stronger, get a little bit bigger, because he is so coordinated and fluid. He doesn't get tripped up by tackles that are way too low at his ankles. That's something that's really encouraging for me because if he can be a force after the catch and make guys miss, we showed the elusiveness earlier, but if you can also break some tackles like this more frequently, I don't know how you bring him down after the catch. That becomes a much, much scarier proposition. The chest piece stuff you can do with Green as a pass catcher, because he is a tight end technically, is really fun, and I like that LSU tried to get creative with utilizing him, especially near the goal line. We've got here that wing at the bottom of the screen. We're just going to motion him out all the way wide. You're going to watch how it stresses the defense. We just had this guy climb up to cover number 2. Suddenly, with Green coming across the formation, we've got another defender who has to come all the way out here. So he's just following all the way outside. And then as soon as he gets outside, we're going to snap it. This defender's still just trying to get settled here. We're just going to run a corner and then kind of a flat, get in the way, but don't block, rub route to the flat here. So corner, flat, and then we're just going to run a quick slant here. Give credit to this number 2 defender. He reads this pretty well as we roll this, because we're going to block here. This guy who's just been having to carry all the way over here, now suddenly he's about to get rubbed. Like, all of his momentum is carrying him this way. He's got to quickly react this way and get in the way of a block. There's just no chance. That defender's screwed from the second he's motioned out there. Again, nice job reacting by this defender. Just don't think he's taking the right angle. He's going so downhill instead of breaking on the slant of where Green's going to be. We just get that just barely window to get a touchdown for Green. Nice little concept. I love utilizing Green in motion, especially when you're trying to get numbers in the box and then make them focus on something entirely different. Because if you load up, especially the NFL, the NFL loves personnel mismatches, right? You want to run 12 personnel and force different types of defenders than the defense's base defense has out there. And when you have a guy like Green, you can do that and then split him out wide and, force some just bad personnel out there in passing situations. The Bears did that to the Packers. I'm acutely aware of that with some of their stuff. This is just a great example of doing something like that, getting your athlete in motion and then creating a mismatch for him. Really fun way to utilize a player like Green. Green had a great day in the bowl game against Houston. A couple of touchdowns. One of these was schemed open. We're going to talk about the other one later. I like the scheme on this one. It's almost like kind of got a sail concept. So we've got that go on the outside, and then we've got kind of this rounded off deep out. See how it kind of looks like a sail. Sometimes that's a corner here to make it look more like a sail. Could be more of a flood. But we're doing, some kind of flood sail thing here. And then on the inside, we're just going to run a hitch to hold. Well, let me draw these back out. Then we're going to do a hitch right here to hold this defender. That's a lot of drawing, but essentially the number 2 guy here going to hold here with a quick hitch route. And that's going to open up the rest, because in theory, this corner is going to carry vertically. And then if we have inside leverage on the safety, we can just run this pretty easily. All that pretty much works to perfection on this scheme. You can see the hitch here. Defender breaks down on it. It's going to create our throwing window right behind him. With Green. So great job there. Got to give credit to this corner because we're doing everything right. Winning the inside leverage gets the safety. Look at all that cushion we have. Does not get more open than this as far as cushion. Corner deserves a ton of credit. He's like, all right, this guy's carrying me vertically. I think something's happening here. So this corner is going to break down on the out route, which is a great job by that corner. Just slightly off angle, maybe a little afraid to tackle Green, and we've got a touchdown out of it. What I love about Green, man, we can just run so many different types of concepts. He doesn't have to be an all underneath guy. Doesn't have to be just a fade guy. Because he's got those long strides to, push vertically, you can run a pretty diverse route tree for a guy like Green and work some concepts like this. This is a very fun one as far as a way to get Green open. And even when a defender like that corner does a great job reading it, it's still not going to be enough because Green's going to shed off the tackle. If there was ever a non-jump ball where I could see Green's basketball instincts kick in, it's going to be this play. We've got Green here. He's just going to, chip release. Didn't really chip here, but we're going to notice that our quarterback's scrambling. So we're just kind of running this drag route. The basketball could not have kicked in more here for Green. He's like, okay, my quarterback's not throwing the ball. He's scrambling. Let me just straight up box out. Like he straight up does a full-on box out. He does the basketball on the football field about as well as you could expect. I had to include it in here. I love the effort. This is a heads-up play. This is being an instinctive football player. This is being a good teammate for your quarterback. But the fact that he just did basketball to be instinctive, it made me giggle thinking about how this guy is a two-sport athlete and finds a way to help his quarterback spring for a big play. I think there are 2 things that are non-negotiable for any football player at any position. They're effort and physicality. I think Green does a damn good job of showing off both here. He's just going to run a slant on the outside. They motion him out. We're just going to run a quick slant to him. He's going to get a ball. And then he's got a defender draped all over him. Now, does he just go down, take the first, think this is a win? No. Keeps driving his legs, keeps running forward. Another guy dives at his legs, and he's like, nah, I'm going to stay up. I'm going to stay up. He's still staying up. What I love there, too, he's like, I'm still up. Let me lower my pads through this next defender and start driving those legs, knowing a convoy's coming to help him. Then suddenly we're getting 3 extra yards out of that specific effort. I love this, man. I love a guy that's willing to, really, give it all on the field. there's so many stigmas around former basketball players playing football, and I feel like just watching this tape alone, man, he's really dispelled a whole heck of a lot of them. It's a quarterback's dream scenario again. This time we got Green one-on-one to the outside, no safety help again. Same thing on the top of the screen. It's no safety help on the solo route. But if I had to pick between which guy I want to throw a deep ball to, I don't care. He's on the far side of the field. I'm throwing one to Green, dude. Are you kidding me? I don't think it gets a better opportunity than here. So just gonna release outside, and boys, this guy draped all over him. He's doing an awfully good job. Let me zoom this in for you guys. Doesn't get much better as far as defense here. What a snag. Dude, this guy catches the ball like perpendicular from the field or the ground. Outside release, guy draped all over him, just haul it in. Literally, he's just like this to the ground. But hauls it in through that traffic, lands on the guy. And then, I mean, he is fired up after this one, which he should be. That is a hell of an incredible catch by Green. And he does these with regularity, man. He's just so much bigger than everyone. And when you can combine that with the coordination and fluidity and body control, it makes you an elite jump ball contested catch specialist. And boy, does Green fit that mold. We're just going to run Green up the seam on this one. And with that blitzer, we're going to have, this defender trying to recover and follow him along with this guy. So he breaks down on here. Apologies. We're going to come across the formation to try and catch up with Green. But with those long strides, he's going to get just the edge he needs right here. And then he's going to take a clean shot from that DB and still stay upright for, tons of extra yards. Barely misses breaking another tackle there. But man, the physicality, we keep talking about effort and physicality, just not stuff I'd expect from a former two-way player, but he's just dispelling so many notions about what I think. We're going to have, I think it's this defender is going to, buzz back across the formation. Just a really hard situation. Apologies, it was this guy. Just a really hard situation for that defender to react and catch up to this. But hell of a clean shot by that DB, and Green just sheds it off like it's nothing. What I love is this is the end of the year. You could see as the season progressed that Green just got more and more physical, more and more comfortable, and it felt like he really just started hitting his stride the second half of the season. Really came alive for the Tigers. I keep talking about dispelling that notion of being a basketball player, being physical, giving good effort. And boy, man, Green's just... This is my favorite play that we're going to show, and it has nothing to do with him or anything he's doing as a pass catcher or anything. He's going to block right here, right? Again, we talked ad nauseum on that one play about his blocking technique, catching, and maybe a little too high here, struggling to drive his legs, but that's not what I care about here. He sees his running back is going to be stopped short of the goal line. Look what he does. He just grabs his teammate and basically tackles him into the end zone. You want to talk about unbelievable effort and physicality to just recognize this and pull his teammate into the end zone. I love that so much. That is just unbelievable effort, physicality, competitiveness, being a good teammate. This embodies everything I want in a football player, regardless of position. And from him, just it's everything I want to make sure that fans that are watching this video know, so they don't have any of that stigma about what Green might be. It's like, oh, he's just going to be the tall guy that catches touchdowns in the end zone on goal line fades. No, he is so much more than that. Green feels like the kind of player that has all of the good traits of being a former basketball player without any of the stigma around him. And I think he is just getting better and better. I cannot wait to see what he has in store in 2026 in a Lane Kiffin offense. I think this might be a special year. He might end up being the #1 tight end in this class if he can take that next step forward. What do you think about Trey'Dez Green? Let me know in the comments. I'm fascinated by this guy. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe if you've made it to the end of this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll do another tight end breakdown later this week. Think about an NFL tight end as well, and then next week is offensive line week. We're going to talk about all the offensive tackles that I've watched. Going to be a really fun one, so stay tuned for that. Tons of stuff coming your way. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and we'll see you next time.